Here we go. We are live. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Today's video, obviously, as you can see here, I have an incredibly special guest with me. We have Rob with Digital Asset News. He has come on my channel. Some of you guys who follow me probably follow his channel because he shouted me out on his Twitter. Thank you very much, Rob, for that. I appreciate that. And now Rob is here for us to talk about Voyager Digital as well as a couple of other things. So, yeah, Rob, if you want to introduce yourself and everything.
First of all, Jason, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. And yeah, my name is Rob, and I am the creator of Digital Asset News YouTube channel. And my history was I was an Army medic back in the day, served for 8 years, got out, medical device sales, and then went into real estate, property, then went into online education, then kind of found myself into this crypto space in around 2017. And 2017 is when everything was awesome because it was going up to the moon. And of course, it would never go down because that's what you think about when you first get into investing. Well, this will never go down. Yeah. And then 2018, I got hit with a dose of reality. And I decided at that point, I told my wife, I go, look, here's the options. We can sell everything and take a loss and just be about our way. Or we can stay in this space and we can start to be a little bit more conservative, do some dollar cost averaging, be as safe as we possibly can, and just stick it out for the long run. Because sometimes that seems to work out okay. And that's what we did. So just for in the crypto space, we just stayed in 2018, 19, 2021, and now here we are. And we've just been dollar cost averaging along the way. And things have worked out okay. I mean, for in that space and the Amazon and the real estate. I think it just comes down to, everybody's like Peter Lynch says, everybody has the brain power to invest. The question is, do you have the stomach for it?
Yep.
And that's the story. That's the story, Morning Glory. That's it.
Nice. So when you started with, in the crypto and everything, was Bitcoin the main thing you kind of stuck to, or were there other coins you bought back then? Because from what I understand, there's some coins back then that don't even exist anymore that were very popular in 2017.
So I know, we were talking backstage and you said a lot of people they just don't do crypto. And I don't blame them because first of all, it's confusing. Second of all, it's super volatile. And so when people hear about this, well, does this even have any value? Because it doesn't make much sense. So when I got in 2017, it was really literally numbers go up. That's really all it was. And the projects that you're talking about, if you go to this website called CoinMarketCap, and it's coinmarketcap.com/historical. And you can take a look back all the way back to 2011 and look at any month you want to for the top 10 different cryptos. And every single time that you click on that, all the way through, you're going to see some coins and cryptos that do not exist anymore whatsoever. Some of those would be Energy Web Token. And EOS was a big one back in the day in top 10. Then there was a Zcash and all this stuff. Now, some of these are still around, but they're way out of the top 10. But one thing you'll see is that Bitcoin's always number one. It's always been number one. It's always kind of just stood the test of time. But back in the day, the ones that I got into was of course Bitcoin, because that's the only thing I knew about. And then there was another one called XRP, which made sense to me because as you move funds around the globe, if you ever have to do that, there's a SWIFT system. And SWIFT is an archaic system created around the 60s. And it's just a communication messaging service. And all it does is go, do you have X amount in this bank? Well, sure. Well, now we're going to do a hop and a hop and a hop and a hop. And there's going to be a cost associated with each one of those. But XRP said, we're going to do this on the ledger, and we're going to make it very cheap and inexpensive. Of course, they then got sued by the SEC, I believe in 2020. The company Ripple did. So they haven't, they're somehow still in the top 20, but they haven't really taken off like they were supposed to. So, but yeah, Bitcoin was the first. Then you took a look at the Ethereums, and then if you become more of a degenerate, you start to go down that list and go, it's kind of like penny stocks. And then before you know it, you're like, what the hell did I just invest into? This makes no sense. and then you start to realize, maybe just some more stability is what I need. And that's kind of where I've been for a bit of time now.
Yeah, I think you and I are kind of similar in that perspective. I think for me, coming from the stock world, I'd rather stability too. And that's why I always try to tell people, if you're going to put money in these types of coins, just assume that you lost it, because it's literally gambling. When you find all these Shiba Inu, Volt Inu, Saitama Inu, like, you got to be careful. But I'm kind of like you. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can still make money investing in the, I guess, boring cryptos.
But no, Jason, you're right, and that's why that's why I like your show, because you're very straightforward, and you're like, you should get into this crazy whacked out stock that nobody's heard about that you're gonna make 1,000x. That's stupid. It's just ridiculous to think about that, and that's the problem with this space here. When I got into it, it was all about you're gonna make 100x in a month, because that's just what crypto was. And then as you go down that journey, and I'm gonna guess, Jason, you kind of at some point you kind of fell down to that. You kind of got, maybe you looked at something like that and go, oh, that looks like a pretty good deal, and then you're like, that doesn't make any sense. So it's the same thing with crypto. If you just stick to the principles, like I've got 5 rules that I have on the lower left hand corner on every one of my live streams, and really it just comes down to this. The first one is, it's all gone. Meaning, just assume that everything you invested in is gone. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose, then you'll be okay. So like, we have people in the crypto space, I think even some people in traditional equities too, they may go a little bit too hard and heavy into a certain stock, and they're like, hey, maybe I shouldn't have put my life savings in there, or maybe I shouldn't have traded on leverage, maybe I shouldn't have done 25, 50x. Now I got to tell my wife, husband, significant other that I just lost Billy's, college fund, or I can't retire. So just assume that you lost everything. And the next one is everything's a scam. Just assume everything is a scam, because in crypto world, there's a lot of scams out there, a lot of phishing attacks, a lot of people trying to get your crypto. So just assume it's a scam until proven otherwise. Don't trust, verify. And the next one is 0% on exchanges, meaning don't leave anything on exchanges. I know in the traditional world, you put in a bank, FDIC insured, 250,000, you're good to go, right? But nobody guarantees squat in crypto. You can custody it yourself. You can cold storage it, and this is why people love Bitcoin, libertarians, and things like that, because you can custody it. And then the next one is no leverage. I've never agreed with some of my counterparties who would say, the only way to make money is 50x. The only way to get wrecked is to go 50x, 25x. Don't use leverage. It's like Charlie Munger says, there's 3 L's that will pretty much crush any man. It's ladies, liquor, and leverage. And if you can control those, you'll be okay. And the last one I always talk about is take profits. Nobody ever went broke taking profits. And that's, I think, the problem with a lot of people, even myself. I'm not perfect, far from it. And I think that in these bull runs, I think people get a little greedy and they say, you know what, it went up 10%. I'll hang around till 20%. I'm sure it's going to go up there. And then when it goes down a little bit, like, it'll rebound. And before you know, you're like, shoot, that 10% now is 1%. So those are the 5 rules I try to adhere to. And that's what I talk about on my show a lot.
Nice. Yeah, you definitely said a lot. And I know for me personally, in terms of the taking profits thing, I actually fell into that too. So I don't know if you know, but I bought crypto in like early 2020, right before the bull market started. And I always tell everybody, I actually
great.
12x my money in Cardano. And it's one of those things where I knew I should have pulled it all out, but people don't realize once you get to that level, greed starts to take over, because everything's going up so much. So I took half of my investment. Like, actually, I don't even think I took half. I basically took my principal, and then I just let the rest the rest just run.
House money.
And that was a big mistake. That was a big mistake.
That was
a big mistake.
Look, you did a lot better than a lot of people that get into crypto. I will tell you that. I think everybody should start. This is how I see it. Everybody should start in traditional finance. Just get stocks, bonds, the safety. And then when you make 2%, you get excited, right? Because if you go right to crypto and you're making like 20% in a week, you have no idea what's going on. You're like, this is just normal. And then you go back. So yeah, but I mean, look, hey man, you did way better than a lot of people on my channel. They're like, hey, I went up 30x, then it went down, and now I'm in a loss. I'm like, why didn't you take profits?
Jeez. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know people did that. Yeah, no,
Oh no, no.
once the crypto
Yeah.
started going down so much, once they just started to get on this nasty downturn, I took profits. I'm like, oh no, because I bought Ethereum at 700, and I took profits at maybe like 2,500 or something like that.
Oh
Could have
yeah.
took profits further, but again, greed took over. So yeah, I don't know how people do that one. You were up like 12x and now you're down like yeah,
Dude.
yeah.
Dude,
So
there's
it
oh, I trust me, I hear all the stories. I hear all the stories. And then I mean, and of course we're gonna talk about Voyager, and that is just a just a disaster right there.
absolutely. Yeah, we could definitely get into that. I mean, we could talk all we want. I know you know that I'm not a fan of it,
Oh, I know you're
and
not.
yeah, and I know you were a fan of it. But one thing I always give you credit on, I think a lot of people talked about Voyager and didn't explain the risk, and then when it went down, they just stopped talking about it. One thing I love about what you do is you fight it head on. I will give you your credit. People have been hammering you in the comments the last few days, and you accept it. You say, hey, you know what? I understand. Folks have lost money. Everybody's mad, but I give you your credit for not absolutely shilling Voyager, like I've seen some people doing. But I like the
Oh,
company. No, I don't like the company. I'm sorry.
you don't like the company, and
Yeah, no,
that's
I don't
okay.
like the company, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's okay. And then like so when people because I have been, talking about Voyager for about a year and a half or more. Because when I got in, it was not when I started using the platform to buy and sell crypto, no one was really using it. It was just a very small startup, guy named Steve Ehrlich who came from E-Trade. And I thought, well, that's cute, that's adorable. Maybe at some point, I'll use it more. And then as I used it more and more, I started to like because it's the simplicity.
Yep.
And then as we went along, I talk about it and I would say, I think this is going to do pretty well. And the platform itself did good. I mean, when I would refer people to it, they would say, hey, I signed up for it, didn't have to look at a bunch of charts, buys and sells. And it's like, and they are a brokerage. And I always explain it like they're like the hotels.com of crypto. Like hotels.com doesn't own any hotels. They just go, well, let's take a look. Do you want a Motel 6? Or do you want a double tree, or do you want this? And I'll find you the best price. And then I'll search across them and then give you to that. So the same thing. You go to Voyager, I want the best price for Bitcoin. Okay, well, I'll take a look at X, Y, and Z exchange. This is the best one, and then I'll get that. And that worked out great. Now, fast forward, and I think this is what we talk about with greed. And there were because there's a difference between collateralized loans. Like I've taken out collateralized loans against my crypto to pay for real estate, but it's collateralized. So if I want to take out, let's say $100,000 worth of cash, I need to give a lending platform usually 2x, 3x, or 4x worth in some type of crypto. So let's just say I used Ethereum. So they're like, I want $100,000. Great. Give us $200,000 worth of Ethereum, and the rate's going to be 7%. Okay, I don't like that percentage. Okay, well, how about this? Give us 300,000, and we'll give you 5%. Well, I don't like that one either. Okay, well, how about this? Give us 400,000, and we'll give you 2%, and we'll give you 100,000. Okay, I like that. So you collateralize it, and that's a big difference between going to the banks, fractionalized lending, right? They take some money in, they're like, here you go. Here's $98. We don't have anything else in there, and that's just how the banks work because they have a nice big fat network and they can cover these things. So with Voyager, unbeknownst to I think a lot of us, there was some lending going on, but there wasn't a lot of collateralization. And as soon as we realized, or I realized, and there was a report that came out from their finances, you could see that there was like hundreds of millions of dollars being lent out, and there's only singular millions being taken out as collateral. Yep. And when I found that out, it was on June 21st. When I found it out on June 22nd, I put out a video. You can look at it right now. And it talked about Three Arrows Capital and Voyager. And I said in that video, this is what's going on. This is the deal. I like Voyager. I like using it to buy and sell, but this isn't right. There's something wrong here. And this is the time, and this one I had the rules up. Rule number 3, it's time to take things off. And that's it. Then take things off. And of course, rules are there for a reason. But of course, on June 22nd, and we talk about it 23rd, 25th, then on July 1st, the withdrawals were suspended on Voyager. So the thing is that the problem with Voyager, as I see it, is they got a little greedy and they said, well, this is just a normal circumstance, and we're just going to keep lending and going forward because we're in this great, fantastic bull market. And of course, when the bull market ends and the bear market comes in, it's just like Warren Buffett says, tide comes in, we see who's swimming naked. And there's a lot of companies in crypto right now that are swimming naked. But there's a big difference between the companies, the platforms, as opposed to the actual cryptos and digital assets that are out there. 99% are trash, I will admit to you. And I say this on my show. But there's a 1% they're going to do a lot of change. And it's just like in the .com 2001. Did you remember? Well, Jason, you're young. You're a young guy. You know, like you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So like back in the day, man, there was all these websites and they all sucked. They didn't work any well. Like it took like 30 minutes to download a JPEG. You're like, woo, this is awesome. And then you do all this stuff. And all these websites you thought were going to be the big one in 95. And then 98, half of them, you don't even know what happened to them. Then 2003, 2005, and off you go. So it's the same thing with crypto. We just got to find the right ones that actually do something and have real utility. And that's the big thing. And I'll be honest with you, there's very few that have any utility. And you really have to dig deep, honestly.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And that's why I love your channel. And I love the fact that you mentioned that and you say that, because I agree. There's so many, there's like 19,000 cryptocurrencies out there. I mean, it's insane. And during the bull market, you just had all these random people who just started making more. But before we continue on Voyager, let me just ask this. Do you think that the media had a big role kind of in playing in all the greed and stuff? And the reason why I asked that is because I remember during the bull market, the media was really pumping a lot of these crap coins like Shiba Inu. And then they highlighted the story of the Dogecoin millionaire, which I personally thought was extremely irresponsible. Because I know they're smart enough to know. They knew how that story was going to turn out. And it happened exactly how we thought. The dude like basically broke even, like all the money he had, he lost it. And he basically got back exactly what he put in, which I guess isn't the worst, but
it's not the worst. But then this is the problem. And you know how it goes. People hear the stories and they want to be that story. And they go, well, if that guy's made $1 million, then why can't I? And not only that, but there's this guy named Elon Musk. He seems pretty reasonable, and he's talking about Dogecoin, and he even talked about it on Saturday Night Live, and he talked about it in interviews. So I'm going to get into that, and then that's when people get screwed over, and then they're like, "Crypto's a scam." Well, of course it is a scam when you look at those types of instances and go, "Yeah, this is going to go to the moon." It's not, and that is I think one of the bigger things. So to talk about the media, let's just back up. What's the media's role? Well, it depends on the media source, right? Most media is just to get eyeballs because they gotta bring people in so they can sell the advertisements, and then they can get paid. And that's just how it is. So the MSNBC, the CNBCs, the CNNs, the Fox News, all those different ones, they just want the eyeballs on there, right? And unfortunately, and you know this, Jason, because we talk about this, about the different YouTubers out there, that's what they do too. Oh, yeah. They have to do those stupid O-face things, which looks ridiculous. And they have to put the most crazy titles and thumbnails and most extravagant things. Like your thumbnails are just like mine. You have like 3, and they're all like little variances of it. It's just either you or it's a multiple pictures of you, and it's either red or it's some other like neutral color. Me, it's always the same one. It's always me and this is it. And then I have some picture and I go, like this is going on or something. So that's it. So like if you took a look at like a Jim Cramer, right? Jim Cramer, when the bull market was hot, what was he talking about? I bought some Bitcoin. I bought some Ethereum. Looks pretty good.
Oh yeah, he was really pumping Ethereum. I remember that.
And then all of a sudden, when things started to change, he's like, "Yeah, I sold that 2 months ago. Yeah, I didn't really think that's gonna be what makes it." And that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths because they're like, "You told me that it was, and now you tell me that you sold." So it does kind of suck. And that's what it is. So yeah, that's why I try to tell people like, look, and I get a lot of kickback for this is every day that it's like just a little green, I talk about the rules. I go, hey, you know what? this might be a good day to maybe think about taking some profits. And they're like, Rob, that's ridiculous. Why'd you take profits on? Because like we can have swings of like 5% in a day, 10% a day. And of course, people get ticked off because they're like, well, it just went up, to 15%. So why would I take profits? I'm like, you'll never time it perfectly. It's like Baron Rothschild said, I made all my money by never selling the top and never buying the absolute bottoms. So never going to time it right anyhow. So just take as much as, just get the profits that you can.
Right. Nice. Now, I don't know if you saw my video, but I made a video earlier this morning where I talked about a new article that came out regarding Voyager Digital. So apparently they're actually being investigated by the FDIC because apparently the FDIC thinks that they may have misled investors by saying that your money on the platform is FDIC insured. And just to make it very clear now, I confirmed this in my video earlier today, even your cash on Voyager is not FDIC insured. And the FDIC actually came out and said that. So that makes me very,
No, this is one of those things where it's pretty bad because there was, and I've had Steve on my show and we talked about FDIC and he's like, yeah, we're FDIC insured. But here's the thing. So again, they're a brokerage. So the crypto they have in it is in other platforms or other exchanges, but the money is on a New York bank, Metropolitan Commercial Bank. And what they do, it's like a pass-through. So when you buy crypto and then you sell that crypto and you have USD in your account and it hasn't transferred to your bank account at that point, where they put that money is in Metropolitan. And Metropolitan, because it is the only bank that does that, they are FDIC insured. But they put out a press release this weekend. And they go, look, the FDIC protects you if we go down, which is Metropolitan, not if Voyager goes down. And there is a big difference between that. So even though they keep it there, that's if Metropolitan has an issue and they start to tumble and they become insolvent. But if Voyager becomes insolvent, then it's not it. However, having said that, Steve Ehrlich had just put out another tweet, which was, I want to say yesterday. Okay. And he said, you know what? I should just read it to you because
let's do that.
Let's do that because Rob said, wait, Rob doesn't get everything right. Ask his wife. Let's see.
Steven.
And then there's a lot of different people that are saying, okay, well, it's an omnibus and it's a pass through and it really is FDIC. But then some people say, no, that's not what it is. But here's the thing. If Metropolitan put it out and that's where it's stored at, you would think that they would be legally held liable unless they misled people. Let's see here. Yeah. This is the thread right here. Show this thread. You know what? I'm going to share my screen. I think that's best.
Sure.
So, do me a favor and pull that in.
Okay. There we go.
T-da. Okay. Avoid exactly personnel remedies. I think this is this is the pinned one. Let me go back. July 5th. Show this thread. Okay. As part of this process, the proposed plan of reorganization would resume account access and return value to customers. And this plan, which is subject to change, can ongoing discussion parties. Okay. It's important to note, this is just on July 5th, that as part of this announcement, we are confirming that customers with USD deposits in their accounts will receive access to those funds after a reconciliation and fraud prevention process is completed with Metropolitan Commercial Bank. And So off you go. So again, we will see. I mean, that's what it comes down to. We will see. And this is the thing. Like we get this information. You and I get the same thing, right? So you see it, and then of course Metropolitan puts it out, which makes sense to us, right? Because they're saying, and let me bring that up. So people aren't like, Rob's full.
Okay. Let me chime in too, just to
Yeah.
be honest. It's kind of hard to trust anything he says anymore with
Sure.
everything that's happened. I mean, I will be honest and say that. Like,
Nah.
I mean, I hope he's right, but what worries me is because, you know, there's no guarantee that this Chapter 11 bankruptcy is going to go well. So if it doesn't go well, can he really guarantee that everybody's going to get their money back? That's what I worry about.
Huh. I can't. I would like to find this. I got time. I don't know. Bloomberg, CoinDesk, news. God dang, there's so many things that buried this. Let me just do this.
Yeah, it's okay.
Metro.
Are you looking for the statement? Because I have that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll like send it to you. Hold on.
I think someone, Metropolitan Bank isn't doing their due diligence for SEO. Okay, this is where it'll say it.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, now I got to find it.
That's still not really it. Oh, well. If I find, I'll show you. So, I mean, that was the whole thing. And then we did a video about that. Just talked about how, look, Metropolitan put it out and said, you know, that you are FDIC insured. However, there's a point to what that entails. And it really depends on if and where which bank actually goes out. But again, here we are getting conflicting information.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm sending it to you right now. I just DM'd it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I found the statement on their website, so I just sent it to you.
So yeah, it's been quite a roller coaster, and I got to tell you, since I've been through these bear and bull markets, the last one was pretty rough. I mean, we saw drawdowns of some altcoins going down 95%. So if you were new to the space in 2017, 18, that was a huge blow to your portfolio. However, if you were a seasoned vet and you took a look and said, wow, 95%, that's like a huge sale. And then, of course, people would gobble them up, and then they would just wait 2 or 3 years and they would sell again. And that's the same thing that keeps happening over and over again. There's 4 words in investing that are like the kiss of death, which is this time it's different. It's really never different. It's the same thing over and over again. And yeah, same deal.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other major issue I have too is just the stock price. I mean, obviously, I know you're more of a crypto guy, but there are a lot of people on Stock Finance YouTube who are really pumping that stock when it was like $25. And there's a twofold part here that I have an issue with, because you had a lot of YouTubers saying that Voyager was a good buy and a fair value at $20. And then you also had the CEO and management, who I just think didn't do a good job. They didn't take advantage of the hype that built around that stock. And what I mean by that is when the stock was like $20 a share, they were buying back shares when they actually should have been doing a share offering and raising more money. This probably could have prevented what's going on right now. But instead, they were buying back shares, and now they're basically going bankrupt. You know, it's crazy.
It was poor management. It really was. And it was poor risk management. I think the more that people get into the space, the more they realize that it's not about how much, it's not about Jungle Inc. Well, there's a legend right there. What's up, Jungle?
There you go. Yeah, I got to get him on the channel sometime too.
Oh, he's always busy, that guy. I've tried to get him on my show myself. He's like, busy. So yeah, it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And that really comes down to, I mean, I think we can all appreciate that, especially the people who have been around for quite some time, or just a little bit of time, even in traditional space or crypto space. We've seen it on paper. We made a lot of money. We made some great plays, but we didn't pull the trigger, and now we are languishing in negative returns. So that's how it goes. Greed will get you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I appreciate you being honest. I appreciate the fact that you've actually had Steve on your show, but you're admitting that like management didn't do that great of a job. Like they made a mistake, and I agree.
No,
You know,
I mean, God, how can you
like
not?
it's beyond obvious at this point, right? Like,
Yeah, this is not me being like some Nostradamus. This is just, I mean, when I got to tell you, when that report came out, I looked at it for like a good 5 minutes, and I was like, I don't think I'm reading this right. I just didn't think it. I was like, this cannot be correct. And yeah, and on my show, I even said, the problem that I had, and I'll correct that, is that I didn't say the rules every single day. Yeah. I didn't talk about, because I mean, we'll talk about not your keys, not your crypto, but it's kind of like it's a phrase that it really isn't beating everybody's head. And now I'm trying to beat in everybody's head, and I think that's why.
Yeah. Me too.
That's probably why I'm losing subscribers. But damn it, I can't help it. It's not. At some point, when you do these things, it's not about like, I mean, what am I going to do, right? I mean, you can only make so much money in the world. What am I going to do? Buy another pool house? Or am I going to, or buy another place? It just comes down to, do you have purpose in life? Are you helping people? Or are you hurting people? And do you have people around you that really care? I think that's really what it comes down to. So that's kind of what it is. So right now, if I'm like annoying the hell out of people with these rules, I think it'll pay them dividends 2-3 years down the road. I think I'll still be here as long as my heart can take it. Jason will still be around. He's a young guy.
No, you'll definitely be here. And I hope you really are, because like I said, there were a lot of moon people and pumpers on, Twitter and YouTube who I honestly think aren't going to be around much longer. I really don't. Because, to be honest with you, I think we're going to have an extended bear market this time. I really do.
How many years? How many years, Jason? How many years is this bear market go on? Or how many quarters? We'll start with that.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think this year and next year. So I guess the next 6 quarters, maybe. That's what I honestly believe. Like, I don't think 2023 is going to be any better, to be honest. I mean, the only thing that can save us, this is my honest opinion, if the Fed pivots and just starts pumping money into the system again, which I think is a bad idea. But if they do that, then sure, everything will go back up. But what you're doing is you're just moving it forward to the next time this happens.
Yeah.
Like you're not actually fixing the problem. So if the Fed steps in, fine, great. But I don't think the Fed's going to step in this time. I really don't. I don't think they can. And I think it's going to take a long time for inflation to go down. I really believe that.
There's a great website you should check out. Let me see. App.Trueflation.
Okay.
app.truflation.com. And they use 30 data points to determine what the actual real inflation rate is. And you know how the Fed will say it's like 8.5%.
Yeah, you're right, because they changed it. Yes, you're right. The CPI, yep.
Yeah. So like if you take a look at app.Trueflation, let me show you. If you can, share the screens. You can break it down to the numbers. Of course, historical Trueflation, you can go over a year, 6 months, 1 year, because it's only been around for, it's new. And then it breaks down by housing, that's crazy, 12%. Transportation, utilities, health, and you can just kind of see these things just go through. So like when we talk about like, and I get a lot of pushback too, and I'm not. It's just the truth is that this year is shot. I mean, this year is shot. I don't think there's much going on. Yeah. The best we can hope for is a sideways chop. And if you're a big trader, this might be awesome for you because of the volatility. I'm not a trader. I'm just a dollar cost average in, dollar cost average out guy.
We're boring. We're boring.
Dude, we're boring.
We just buy and hold.
Yeah, and then like when you said, next year is going to be the same thing. I tend to disagree a little bit. I think we'll see a little momentum, but we won't see anything like we saw in 2020, 2021. I think, but you have to understand, if that happens and next year is like that, let's say you're right or I'm right, doesn't really matter. I think there's somewhere in the middle. That's just a great opportunity just to keep dollar cost averaging, getting in. And I'm not talking about buying the dips. I have bought so many damn dips, I'm all dipped out. I'm just talking about just taking a set amount, being resourceful, and just going, I'm going to buy on this date X amount of these equities and these cryptos or digital assets, and just keep going for 2 or 3 years. That's where I made all my money. In 2018, I was buying. I remember I bought Bitcoin at around 6,000, 6,500, 7,000. I bought Ethereum around $250, $300. Now it's around 1,000. Bitcoin's around 20. Actually, one of my Bitcoin was at 60. I remember buying Cardano at 7 cents, and I went up to $3.
Oh, you got it lower than me.
Yeah, but I mean, look, that's just because like just because I was here for a while, and that's it. It has nothing to do with brain power. I'll tell you that right now. So yeah.
Nice. I see Corn Pop has an interesting thing. Corn Pop is actually a crypto guy. I think this guy, I know. Yeah, he actually told me, I think he's like a crypto miner or something. Like I think he actually does it on his own. But anyway, he says that Voyager was only able to get listed because Voyager bought a bankrupt mining company that was once listed.
I'm not 100%, but that would make sense because that's how they were planning to go into Europe. They had bought a French exchange. And so they had bought the French exchange. It was going to be a merger. They could go into the EU. There was a token swap. This was, I want to say 8-9 months ago or even longer. And that's how they, were able to get in the next one. So as far as this one, not 100% sure, but because when I got into it, it was already a listed company. So I'm like, well, that sounds pretty good. You got a listed company that has a little regulation, so maybe they know what's going on. And then, of course, they just made some stupid loans. Let's just be honest, uncollateralized and let's be honest, let's call Three Arrows Capital what they are. They were degenerate gamblers, and that's really what it come down to. Don't sue me, bro. But that's what it is. Corn Pop, that's funny.
I know. Yeah, that's a funny one. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Thank you for putting me onto this website. First off, I guess what's left to talk about is kind of what do you think is safe at this point? And let me make sure I'm specific because we both agreed that Ledger, obviously, or some type of cold storage is safe.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Because for me personally, I think it's very possible that Coinbase could go under too, but. Sure. For those people who don't want to get a cold storage, because believe it or not, I get people all the time who are like, oh, I'm not going to get cold storage like you say, Jason or Rob. I'm just going to put my money in Coinbase or FTX. FTX is buying everybody and Coinbase looks fine, so I should just do that. So what are your thoughts kind of on that? The two, I guess, last survivors. Well, I guess three. You've got Binance, FTX, and Coinbase.
Last survivors. It's like a Squid Game. Yeah.
Yep.
This is what I'll say to everybody. I get it. I understand why you don't want to self-custody because it sounds risky and it takes a little bit of work. And it seems daunting because it's so new because what are we used to? I go to the bank, I go to Wells Fargo, here's my money, FDIC insured, don't have to worry about it. Now all they got to do is worry about my job, my 3 kids, a social life, and everything else that takes care of my life. Why do I want to deal with one more damn thing? Why do I have to do that? It's because you have to do that. And the people here's the thing, people on our show, they listen to us and they'll say, oh, Jason likes X stock, so I'm going to buy this stock. And you may have said, hey, I like this stock. However, there's these things that really concern me, blah, blah, blah. But I like it overall, right? It's the same thing with me. Like, I like this platform. However, the 5 rules are still in effect. Not your keys, not your crypto. Take it all off exchanges. If you want to use it for that, that's it. The whole thing is this. If you don't do it, look how many people have lost everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Not to say that it's totally gone. But, I mean, Celsius is working through these issues. We'll see if they can come back. Voyager filed Chapter 11 on July 1st. July 1st? No. July 1st was the first day, and I think a couple of days ago they did a couple of days ago was Chapter 11. I will tell you right now, I get DMs to this day saying, Rob, that's my life savings. I put everything into Voyager. What do I tell my wife? Rob, I was planning on retiring in a couple of years. I am 55 years old. I'm a retired veteran, and everything's there. What do I do? Rob, I saved up for my kids' graduation or for a kids' college fund, and I put 50% in there. How do I tell my son that now they either can't go to college or they're gonna have to work a lot harder to go to college? Listen to those stories. Listen to what I just told you. And let me tell you right now that self-custody is not that hard. I've got a website and it's 100% free. I made it 100% free because people can't afford, because I made it for everybody in the world. I didn't want people to, like, in America, they can probably afford $5 a month, right? No big deal. But what if you're in India or Iran or something like that, or wherever you're from? So I just made it free. You go to danteachescrypto.com. On chapter 2, all I talk about is safety, how to avoid scams, how to get your ledger and from the actual site, how to open it up, how to transfer it from your exchange, how to back it up if said cold wallet gets destroyed or something happens to it, where you have the backup. It's just 12 or 24 words that you need, and you can back it up from everywhere. Here's a prime example. We live in Puerto Rico, but we vacation in Texas. Right now we're in Texas. Got to, see the grandkid and all that good stuff. Family, right? When I came over here, I forgot one of my ledgers. And I was like, shoot, I needed to transfer some things so I could sell some things. So I tried to take some profits. So I didn't have the device, which is the cold storage device. I went to ledger.com. I bought the device, came in 7 days. Because I had my booklet with all my mnemonic phrases, I just put the 12 words in. Everything came back. 6 figures, no big deal. And then I was able to transfer it to an exchange, sell immediately, take the cash, put it in my bank account. So if you think like I can't do it, I had a 78-year-old grandfather of 10 or something like that. He's like, hey, I thought I couldn't do it, and I can't believe how easy it was. So that's the only thing I got to say to you.
Yeah, so let's talk more about cold storage, because I really do want to encourage people to get one. So, I have one. I know you have one. A lot of people say, like, what if you lose your seed phrase? I think that's what it's called. It's like your 16 character seed phrase. I got it written down. And people are like, if you lose that, do you lose all your crypto? So can you kind of clarify that and just kind of break that down too? Yes.
Let me say that again. Yes. If you lose that phrase, it's gone. So what do you do? So here's what I do. There's these things called stone books. You can go to, I think it's just stonebook.com, and they are water resistant, tear resistant, everything else. And you can put all your phrase in there. I have 2 of those. You know where I keep them? Well, one I actually brought with me, and the other one I keep in a safety deposit box. So let's just say, for example, that my house burns down. Well, that stone book's great, but it's not going to survive that. However, if I keep it in a safety deposit box, then I'm good to go. Or if you want to do it like this, some people just say, well, what I do is I keep, like, I don't want to get wrench attacked. People think, oh, I got a lot of money. So what they'll do is they'll write half of the words down in whatever they have, a stone book or something else, which is just a little booklet. And they'll put the other phrases in another book, and they'll give it to their whoever that they trust. So nobody has both of those phrases. So I always say, if you're going to do that, just take some backup steps. Don't put it on, like, here's an example. Here's what I did when I first got into crypto. 2017, I was so excited about this, able to self-custody. So I downloaded this thing called a Daedalus wallet for Cardano. And I had 20,000 Cardano, which each was like a nickel or something, or 7 cents, 8 cents. And I'm like, it's not that much, no big deal. And I put them into my Daedalus wallet, which was a new type of wallet from Cardano Foundation. And I wrote down those mnemonic phrases on a piece of paper somewhere, stuck it somewhere, no idea where it went, gone. Well, guess what happened? So that computer crashed, so I couldn't get it back. So right now, there are 20,000 Cardano that are ADA tokens that will never be recovered because I don't have that mnemonic phrase, because I was stupid and I put it on a piece of paper, stuck it in some folder somewhere, and I'll never have it again. So that's why I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do that. And that's why I use stone books. I use 2 stone books, keep one with me, another one in my bank account. That's how it is.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, we are going to run this show kind of the way Rob does it on his channel. I think we're going to go ahead and take some questions, because I know that's kind of your thing, and I think that's awesome that you do that. So if anybody has any questions, yeah, I'm sure. So yeah,
it's fun because people like, so like most of them like Beardy's in the chats. What's up, Beardy? And a lot of people I see, they're like, love Rob, thanks so much, love it. And there's always the people like, Rob, you're the dumbest person I've ever met in my life. And then of course some people will say, yesterday, a couple of days ago, somebody said, Rob, we need you to blindfold yourself and walk into traffic. Nobody needs another YouTuber who talks about crypto. I'm like, sure, okay. So yeah, chats are where it's at, man.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'll probably keep Rob going for like another 15 minutes because we're at 45 minutes right now. You know, I know he's busy. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, I see one right here. But yeah, guys, just feel free to ask any questions you have with Rob. Obviously, he doesn't come here often, so you know, you gotta get him while he's here.
Oh, so Exodus, the wallet. I don't use Exodus. And here's the thing, guys. I'll tell you what I know and tell you what I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't use Exodus. I downloaded it a long time ago. Couldn't even tell you if it's a good option or not. I can only tell you what I use. And what I use is a Nano Ledger X. You can use, there's two versions of it. One's a little bit more fancy, a little more expensive, and the other one's just a simple button thing. And that's just what I use. I also use MetaMask for all types of Ethereum, which is downloaded on your browser. I know some people don't think that's as safe, and they could be right because there's a report that who is it? JP Morgan, I think, is one of the big backers of that. But I do keep some there because when I want to do trades on decentralized exchanges, I use that. But again, I have the private keys to that. I have the mnemonic phrase. If my computer crashes, I can bring it back up from anywhere.
Nice.
Beardy.
Yeah, I can actually speak on Exodus. So funny enough, I've actually tried just about every crypto exchange you could think of. I had Gemini, Kraken, Exodus, Coinbase, everything you could think of. I didn't like Exodus. I'll be honest. Now, I'm not going to say it's the worst. I mean, in terms of security, I think it's good. But in terms of like interface and how many cryptos you could actually like buy on there, it was kind of lacking in that area, in my opinion. So I personally didn't like Exodus. But again, remember, we are not having our money on these exchanges. Remember the rules, the 5 rules. So rules. I know you guys just desperately, for whatever reason, do not want to get a ledger. But I'm telling you, it's really not that hard. And I think Rob actually has you have like videos where you show people step by step, right?
Yeah, so again.
Sure.
andteachescrypto.com. Again, 100% free. It's always free. It always will be free. And then all you need is just an email. That's it. You got a username and password. You create the password. I don't know what it is. And on chapter 2 or module 2, safety, but the first one I talk about is how to detect scammers. And that's just a quick video. And then how to avoid scams, what's a crypto wallet, what's a public private key, how to set up your Nano Ledger, set up your Ledger Live app, how to transfer from exchange to wallet, delete and restore Nano. That's going to be very important. Transferring crypto from wallet to exchange. And again, I like to use videos because I'm a visual learner. I know some people like that, so I don't like to do a lot of text. It's all video, so you can just follow along. And they're not long. They're like, I think the longest one's like 9 minutes long.
Nice. All right. Timothy says, where is it at? Not that one. It was a book.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll answer that right now. So okay, go ahead. For alcoholic drink, I like the fine stuff. I have a vintage Chateau Miller, which I'll be drinking this weekend. It's also called Miller Lite, and that's my favorite beer. So yeah, I don't like wine, just like beer. That's it. I don't drink as much as I used to because as you get older, you just don't do it. But yeah.
Cool. Timothy also says, what books would you recommend? That's a good one.
There's a great one. I've read a couple of times. It's called This Time It's Different. And all it is it takes a look at the economic cycles, 8 centuries of financial folly. And it takes a look at the natural cycles, the bear and bull markets over, again, 8 centuries. And it just shows you that people say, well, this time it's different, this time it's different. And they can show you from not just in the United States, but various countries in the European Union and UK and different parts of, they even take a look at India, I believe. And they just say that this is not correct. There are so many instances of where it just repeats and repeats and repeats. And when you understand that nothing really is different, then you're kind of like, oh, I can see that. And these are just from 2 economists who, I forgot their names that wrote it. But that's one I would definitely highly recommend. Reinhardt, that's it. New York Times bestseller. That's a good one.
Nice. All right. Somebody wants to know how old you are.
I'm pretty old. Like I'm pushing 50, and I got 4 kids and 2 grandkids. So I just try to keep up with them. That's how it goes.
Nice. Do I drive a Prius? No, I do not. I do not drive a Prius. Opinion on Trust Wallet?
Don't use it. I don't know it.
I've had it before. I haven't used it well enough. Like I downloaded it or and didn't use it. If I'm
Oh.
even talking about what I think it is. I think it's the one with the white and light blue background. But anyway.
Yeah, it might be
don't
good.
know.
I just don't know it.
Yeah.
So One Step Outdoors, this is the thing that, because I can't use Voyager now, people are asking me, well, how do you dollar cost average? And I will tell you, like before, when we started to really slide down, I was dollar cost averaging every day, small amounts. But now that we're sliding down, I only buy on Sundays, because usually Sundays is when we see dips. So I just have it set to buy, and I've been using Coinbase. But then a couple of people said, why do you use Coinbase with the fees when you can use the Lightning Network and pay 0 fees and get your Bitcoin? But you understand, you can only get Bitcoin in that way. You can't buy any altcoins, which is probably not a good idea anyhow these days, because altcoins are bleeding against Bitcoin. So to answer your question, I'm not using Lightning right now, but I'll be doing that over the weekend, and I'll putting a video out about it later on.
Nice. Beardy Day says, how many steps in today?
Son of a bitch. So like, Beardy's always on me about this. Beardy's one of my moderators, great guy. And so there's this. Remember we talked about in the beginning, Jason, about utility, because let's be honest, like in 2017, you thought it was bad in 2020. You should have seen in 2017. There's these things called ICOs, where people will be like, "Hey, here's this paper that I wrote, and it's going to be awesome." And they get like $100 million in funding, because people would just say, "Oh, that's the next big thing." They have no idea. So there's no utility there. Now, fast forward today, the utility, and people will talk about Bitcoin utility and store of value. I kind of push back on that, because let's be honest, if you're in let's say you're in Venezuela, okay, and you know that you are dealing with hyperinflation, so you say, well, okay, I can't keep it in the petrodollar or whatever they have. I want to put my money into Bitcoin. And then of course, I don't know how much, let's say your average amount that you actually gain from your job, let's say it's around $500 a week. And then, so now you got $2,000, right? Well, how much did Bitcoin slide in the last month? We're talking like 20%. So 20% for anybody is a lot. Let's just say you're making 100,000 a year. Now you're only making 80,000 a year. Okay, I get that. But if you're making 2,000 a month, and now you got $1,600 in these types of areas, that's not a store of value. I hate to break it to people. It's just not how it is. Now, you can move large sums of money without any permission, without using the Swift network like we talked about, for pennies, essentially. And you don't need any permission. And it's the only digital currency, well, it's only digital product that you can actually take custody of yourself. It's the first digital product you can take custody of yourself, and it's the first one that is actual digital scarcity. So that is a long drawn answer just for Bitcoin. And Ethereum, I think, is great because you can actually build things on it for all these apps. But do people use these apps right now? We can use it for like buying NFTs, but me personally, I think those are worthless as well. So the long answer that I'm getting to with Beardy's question is, how many steps in the day? There's an app. It's called Sweatcoin, and it's been an app for 3 years. It's just like, it's an app on Apple, iOS, and Android, and it's not a crypto app. It's just something you can download right now. I've been using it for 2 months. Every 1,000 steps, you get a Sweatcoin. Those Sweatcoins are really like rewards, like a reward token. And you can use that. You can donate it. You can buy little goofy things. Like I bought some in-ear headphones, which were pretty cool, I guess, but not that cool. And what they're doing is they were the #1 app globally in health and fitness with over 100 million downloads. So it's a pretty big company. And they figured out how to monetize that through revenue, just like how Facebook does it. I guarantee if you clicked on this video, you saw an ad. And you're going to see ads in that app as well. So that's where the revenue comes from, also premium services. Well, on September 12th, 2022, they're going to move from just a free app to offering you a cryptocurrency called Sweat. And every coin that you have actually accumulated, because I've got a good over 2,000 now, just from walking all the time. That's why Beardy's always telling me how many steps he got. And other people are too. They're going to give you an airdrop of Sweat coins. And they have different revenue models that they're going to try it out. So I think I don't have to buy a stupid NFT. I don't have to buy anything. It's a free to use service. I'm going to use ads. There's a premium. They're also going to try to do crypto swaps. So they're going to take a little bit of a chunk there if you want to do trading. So that might be an actual app that you can use. Oh, and by the way, in their next part of their roadmap, because people always ask me, well, how much data are they scavenging and selling to the government? Just like how Facebook sold all your data, everybody's data, they sold all the marketers. You know how I know? Because I used to advertise all the time on Facebook for my businesses. And I can tell you, I can find a person I could find a 36-year-old mom of 2 in Minnesota, and I could advertise just to that person because of all the data that Facebook took from you. So for Sweatcoin, they have the data, but in their terms of service, in their EULA, from the CEO interview that I did, they don't sell your data. But what you're going to be able to do is you are going to have access to that data. And if you want to sell that data to, I don't know, an insurance company that your employer has, or to your employer, so they can say, hey, this guy, he walks a lot, so it might be healthy. Give him a $5 reduction on his premium. You can do those things on top of any other kind of government that you want to. So that's in the works. And I think that app is going to be pretty big. Full disclosure, they did not pay me a dime to say that, but I am investing heavily into Sweatcoin.
Nice.
That was a super long answer. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Do your thing. Yeah, we got a question from Shroom Nikki.
Shroom Nikki. I remember her. Yeah, so this is a good one. World Mobile Token is built on Cardano. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to do connectivity and telecommunications in places that don't have it. Mostly they're doing that in sub-Saharan Africa, Tanzania. Hope I said that right. I know I'm an American. I think I called it Tanzania one time. Tanzania.
Yep.
And what they do is they've already have 2 successful test cases where they go to these fishing villages and say, do you want telecommunications? Because guess what? The companies that do that, they're not going to come out here because it's way too expensive to bring it out here. So what we'll do is we'll give you the solar panels, we'll give you the nodes, and you can run everything and you can be a node operator. We will split the revenue and you can have telecommunication services out here. Now, how do they get the service out there? Well, they bought these, instead of making these super expensive towers like we have in the United States, it's these big blimps that are secured. They're secure to the ground, but they go up so many feet. And they just hover and give communication power or telecommunication service throughout a certain range. So that's how they're doing it. And then Meld, that's Ken Olling's thing, and that's a DeFi play. And that's where this one's a little bit trickier because they're talking about loans that pay themselves. And because this is a DeFi play, I'm kind of shirking away from that right now. I like Ken, I like Meld, but we'll see how it goes. And what Nikki's talking about is this Vassal hard fork. All this is it's on the test net right now for Cardano. And what it's supposed to do is for dApps and for app developers to make things faster, cheaper, and smarter, essentially. And they're going through the testing right now. And then at the end of the month, then it goes live. And I will just say that in crypto, when you have these hard forks from a test net to the main net, there's usually some price appreciation. So if you're a trader, this might be a gold mine for you. Not financial advice, but usually it's buy the rumor, sell the news, and then off you go.
Yeah. Got another one right here from Lincoln.
Yeah. So Lincoln says, when will stock brokerage take on crypto like Vanguard and Schwab to counter Voyager and Coinbase? I know Robinhood does it. So that's a question for risk. Do they want to right now, I don't think anybody's going to want to get into crypto and digital assets unless you're like a degenerate in some ways and you want to really get into the crazy stuff. I think there's a lot of upside potential. There definitely is. But the problem is that if you're a stock brokerage and you're, making a good amount of money, you have to take a look at that and go, how much of this am I putting at risk to get into a crypto space where they're in a bear market right now and the downturn is more volatile than the traditional markets themselves? I think right now they'll probably stay away from it until things warm up, and then Jim Cramer can say, Ethereum's going to the moon, and then all of a sudden they all come in. It's only the smart ones. It's only the ones with maybe a little bit of vision and a little bit of guts to say, okay, this is the down market, and this is where millionaires and billionaires are made. When I can invest not my whole loot, but a good amount to where I can, ride it up on the high side.
I'm with you, and that's why I'm waiting. I'm waiting on my moment right with that one.
Hey, do me a favor. Bring up Nelly Fritada's comment.
Sure. I see it.
Yeah. So Nelly.
Hold on. Sorry. Hold on.
I get that too when there's a bunch of comments. So Nelly Fritada says, this dude, meaning me, pump Voyager hard. So the time was going to $70. So first of all, let's call a spade and say there's a difference between the VGX token and Voyager, the company. One is a publicly traded company, and the VGX is a cryptocurrency, more like, and really what it's used for is like a loyalty program. So it's like a rewards program. And when I remember I did a video, December 7th, 2021, and I said, this was my price predictions, which I've since stopped doing predictions because I have no crystal ball. And it was just for fun, but people didn't take it for fun. They took it for gospel, and that's my fault. Never should have done that. Even though I said not financial advice, but it doesn't matter. So what I talked about there was the Voyager token was 29 cents. And I said, I think this will go to $30 at some point this year. Because of the tokenomics, it was only 222 million. It wasn't 100 billion like some other ones. I think even Cardano is in the 100 billion type of range. And I said, I think this could have some legs because of the momentum it's getting. And then if it starts to go global, because it's only in America, I think that people will use it a lot more. So in 3 weeks, it went from 29 cents to $7. Sounds pretty good, right? And that was December 7th all the way to January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or something like that. Then fast forward a month or so, it went from 7 to 5, and then it stabilized around 350. And people are like, what happened to $30? I'm like, I think it'll still go up there. I think it has a lot of legs. And it didn't. And it sure didn't. So when it went down, I'm like, hey, I thought it'd go to $30, didn't go to $30. Hopefully got in 29 cents. Hopefully took some profits. But I never said $70. That's pretty crazy. And then, in all honesty, $30 was crazy as well. But you know what's crazier? 29 cents to $7 in 3 weeks. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. All right. Another question.
Oh, the main issues in crypto is trust. Trust is a commodity you can't buy. And if you lose trust, like a lot of people, like including myself with these different platforms, that's the main issue. And the real question is, where do we go from here? Because if a Lehman Brothers fails or a large institution fails, the government can swoop in and bail them out. I don't know if there's going to be bailouts coming up. I don't think so. But with crypto and digital assets, nobody's coming to bail us out. So what I see is this. You're going to see a lot of projects. You're going to see a lot of companies that are in crypto collapse. We've already seen a Coinbase, I think, laid off around 18%. We just saw that Celsius laid off 25% of its staff. So hopefully they can actually gain some revenue or actually put the money into it to bring things back so people can actually take money out. Voyager, I'm pretty sure they're going to start laying off. And then, of course, there's other companies that are either stopping withdrawals or firing people, essentially. So the problem here is people are going to look at this and they're going to see that this is a market, just like how we saw in 2001 in the dot-com crash. They said this is worthless because who would ever think that we would use a website? That doesn't make any sense. And who's going to buy stuff on a site when there's nothing but a bunch of scammers and deliver it to your house? That's so stupid. So, of course, that's when people got out. It was the ones that said, okay, we see some value in an Amazon. We see some value in Google, which you think about it back then, you're like, what do you do, Google? You're a search engine? I can search that. I'll just go to the library, look at the Dewey Decimal System. I'll find anything I want to find. So it's the same thing here. So now, fast forward to today. What we see is all these, and me and Jason were talking about before, there's like 19,000 crypto projects. Most of them are trash. Here's what has to happen. And we talked about this in I think it was a couple of videos, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. I said, we need a crypto recession. And people are like, why do we need a crypto recession? I go, because all this trash has to get burned. And once we can get away with all this stuff, then you have the mid-tier projects, which are okay. They're all right. But they're using up resources, which are developers and marketers and community, when other real good projects can go, we're going to absorb you. We want to merge with you. And that's what Amazon has done quite successfully. And that's what Facebook has done over the last 10 so years or so. And that's what's going to happen in our space. So the problem right now is trust. The problem right now is fragmentation. The problem right now is that we have too many things, too many pokers in the fire, whatever you want to say. And we need to consolidate to go forward. And a lot of these platforms, they don't need to be here.
Agreed. Some of them need to go bankrupt and get out of here.
Ledger. I mean, that's, like I said, like, I think there's a Ledger and a Trezor. And I know some people like a Trezor because it may be a little bit more robust, but I don't use it, so I can't talk about it.
Yeah, I'll answer that. The Ledger Nano X has a lot of crypto coins on it.
Oh yeah.
And then Trezor is a good one too. So, but honestly, Ledger, you can't go wrong with the Ledger. That's what I recommend. It's like the best out there to me.
Yeah. So Jason, you're right. And I will tell you this, like, when people say, well, Rob, why do you just said like Bitcoin utility and Ethereum is utility. The reason why there's so many coins on Ledger is because they're all ERC20 tokens. And what are ERC20 tokens? They're all built on Ethereum. Thousands, at least hundreds of projects are built on Ethereum. And what do you need to move everything around to go and actual use function and transfer things? You need this thing called gas. And that means you need to buy Ethereum. So.
Yeah. All right, I'll take this one. This is for me. What stocks are you buying next?
I'm interested in this myself.
All right, let's do it. I bought some Amazon at 106.
Yeah. Oh.
These are some buys I did recently. So, Amazon's the only stock that I bought last week. When the S&P 500 went to 3,700, which was maybe like 3 weeks ago, I bought Bank of America, I bought Facebook, and I bought the S&P 500. And I also bought Amazon. So those are really the stocks that I'm buying. Another stock that I'm buying is Starbucks. And that's about it for now. I'm kind of waiting. I'm waiting for things to get a little bit lower, and I think it's coming.
How do you do it, Jason? How do you invest? Like, do you just look at the charts and go, okay, now I'm going to catch this falling knife? Or are you going to dollar cost average? Or are you going to value cost average? Or how do you start to look at these things? Or just whenever?
So just analyzing stocks and looking at some of my favorite companies, like have very strong fundamentals, stocks that I consider to be undervalued. The way you do that is you do this thing called a discounted cash flow model. And that's just one aspect. It really helps you determine what a good valuation for a stock is. And then you just look at different things. Like when I look at a stock like Bank of America, right? Like Bank of America is one of my favorite stocks. I'm really eyeing the banks right now, actually. I'm thinking about buying JP Morgan Chase too. And I think that the banks are undervalued at this point, in my opinion. So I really just look for deals. And I think the mistake that a lot of people made with stocks in 2021, and I actually made this mistake too, to be honest, a lot of people bought stocks at way too high valuations. Sure. And so now the stocks have come down to more reasonable valuations where when you look at the free cash flow and their fundamentals and different things like that, it starts to look more reasonable to buy them at certain price points. And for me, those stocks are Facebook, Bank of America, Amazon, things like that.
Let me ask you this. What's harder for you to do? To buy, to sell, or to do nothing and wait?
It's easy to buy.
It's easy to buy, right? Buy the dip.
It's easy to
just
buy.
Keep buying.
It's really hard to hold. What was the third option? Hold money?
So buy, sell, or just wait and do nothing.
It's really hard to wait and do nothing.
Yeah, it's tough.
I'll probably have to go with that. It's really, and I'm actually kind of doing that right now. I'm still sitting on a bunch of cash, but it's really hard to do that. It really is, especially when your mind plays tricks on you. You watch the market all day like I do, and you start seeing stuff go up, and you're like, dang, what if this stock never goes back to that price point again? And, because at the end of the day, we can always make predictions, but at the end of the day, you just never know. You just never know. Yeah, selling's not so hard for me because for me, it's very simple for me. When a stock goes up 100%, there you go. That's it. It's really that simple.
That's the way to have rules are perfect. Rules in place.
That's always my rule. I never get greedy. There's some stocks that are exceptions. Like there's some stocks that I consider to be forever holds, like Apple. I've been holding Apple for years, forever hold. S&P 500. I'm going to hold that for the rest of my life. And then there's stocks like Facebook where if Facebook went up 60% tomorrow, I'm taking profits. I'm selling. Like, that's all I expect.
Yeah, it's a solid play. Just as soon as you double your money, you can either take those 2x profits or 150% and then let the 50% ride, or just go, okay, I'm gonna take my initial investment out. But either way, the biggest problem is I see in crypto is that people don't take any profits, because you know why? Diamond hands, right? You got to have diamond hands. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. But yeah, here we are.
Yeah. There were a lot of crazy sayings in 2021, wasn't there? Diamond hands to the moon.
When Lambo.
What else was it?
When Lambo. That still goes.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. They did say that too. Yeah, there was all kind of crazy stuff.
Dude, I got lambasted when I was talking about to take profits in 2021, because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I didn't take enough profits. I'll just admit that. But I did talk about, we should take some profits because it's like crazy high. And that was it. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I made that mistake too. And same thing in stocks. Stocks had a crazy rally and run too, just like crypto did. Everything was crazy. And yeah, when you look back on it, I look at it like everybody who got into the market for the first time, whether it's stocks or crypto in 2020 or 2021, you're essentially a smarter investor now. Like, you're a much smarter investor. Now you know how this stuff works. Now you know that things don't just go to the moon forever. Eventually, you got to take profits. You cannot let greed take over.
Yeah, that's true. See? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me find some more questions.
No.
Call it one.
No, Beardy.
Somebody said, did you answer how many steps?
No, and I'll show you. And this is what's great about this app is that, like, so people can download it and then they can follow you. So like they can follow me. And I always say, like, if you beat me, you won't. But if you could beat me in the steps per month, at the end of the month, if you beat me, the top 3 people that beat me, I'll either have you on the show, I'll do the live portfolio review, or I'll give you 50 sweat coins. And so, like, right now, let's see if I'm losing. Ugh, that's the wrong one. There's another project called Move to Earn. That's what we call them in crypto now. And one was called Step In. And that was ridiculous. You had to buy, it's like $1,000 NFT to get you into the game. And then every time that you'd use it, you have to like repair it with all the crypto that you got. But with Sweatcoin, there's none of that trash. So today, friends, son of a gun, I'm losing. So today I'm ranked 19th. I don't know if you can see me here. And I have 7,223 steps. Andy O'Neill is beating me he has 20,000 steps. Theodore, 15,000, and Michael Patterson at 13,000. I have a measly 7,200. I was at my sports complex. I was putting up nets, and must not be moving around enough today. So yeah, there's your answer.
Cool. All right, I think that's about it. Unless anybody has any dying, burning, last-minute questions, I think that'll pretty much be it. Don't see any. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and call it. Just want to say thank you so much for coming on the stream, Rob. And it was definitely an honor to have you. And I think that a lot of my subscribers learned a lot. I know I did. You just showed me a bunch of stuff. You showed me your thing about teaching people how to actually work their cold storage. And then you showed me this inflation thing that I didn't even know existed. I'm over here following CPI. I need to be following this.
Dude, it's crazy, right? And I will say, Jason, thanks for having me on and just doing what you do. Because, like, look, Jason doesn't have 1 million subscribers yet. But when I saw his videos come out, I'm like, oh, I'll watch this. This is about macro, because I don't know a ton about macro. And there's some great information that you put out, and it's the truth and it's honest. And there you go. Now, I will say, Jason, sometimes you like to tussle with some people out there in the YouTube verse, but that's you, man. That's you. Do all that stuff. I just like the macro stuff that you do, because you really got a good insight. So thank you. Yeah,
I think everybody does. So I got to figure out how I'm gonna maneuver through that, because with the
Dude,
recent updates. I might have to stop.
Jason, look, this is how it is. Like Stoicism, Seneca, I believe it was Seneca. It's either Seneca or Epictetus, I forget. But they say, be careful with the people that you come in contact with, because you never know the battles that they're going through right now. And I know it's easy, but damn it, sometimes people are like, first of all, sometimes people are just crazy. Other times people are just having a hard time. And other times people are just liars. But what are you going to do? So do what you can do, man.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, for me, the biggest reason why I do it, I know a lot of people think it's for views, but honestly, Rob, a lot of people don't know my story. I sat in 2020 and 2021. I sat for both those years, and I watched these people who I know don't know anything about stocks or crypto just absolutely take advantage of people. And that's really was a big part of why I did what I did, is really to just try and wake people up into what's going on, you know?
Dude, that's why we both have this channel. Trust me, I get it. Because in 2017, everybody told me Bitcoin's going to 1 million. Everybody told me that these ICOs were the way to make a ton of money, as they took those coins from those companies and then dumped them on me as I did it. And like I said, everything was going to go up. Even John McAfee told me, and he would never lie to me, that Bitcoin is going to 1 million. God rest his soul. But man, I hear you. I know it. So these days, the way we get back at that is just do what we do, right? The honesty, and just go from there. Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. All right, well, I guess that's it, guys. So, yeah, there you guys have it. Again, thank you so much for coming on, Rob. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Adios. Thank you, guys.